All right, so on this show, we discuss startups, funding, scaling, growth, and exit. Today's topic is creating a product market fit to skyrocket your startup growth. And we know that a product market fit is the holy grail of startups, right? Now, I know I say everything is a holy grail, but this one is the real holy grail, right? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have a good product market fit, then your startup is going nowhere, right? You're going to languish, you're going to burn through your capital. And in fact, you would find it really tough to get any funding at all. And even if you're lucky, and this is 2021, and there's cheap money everywhere, you might get some funding, but you're going to burn through that. So it's really critical that even if you are advanced into your startup, you already have a product out there, whatever, it's important to always look at it's like a living thing, right? You need to be constantly evaluating your product market fit. Okay, so today I'll be sharing powerful strategies and tips to help you nail that perfect product market fit and accelerate your startup success. So this is about target market, the MVP, optimizing your value proposition, customer feedback, and iterating, staying ahead of the competition, because all these things create that effect of the product market fit. And then as you move forward, you got some key metrics like NPS and a few others we will cover that make sure that your fit stays relevant. Okay, so let's first define what a product market fit is: the critical connection between your product and your target market. That connection is that fit. And what does that connection really do? The connection is it's emotional. It's of course based on use, the needs, the ideal customer profile, and a ton of different factors. And we will look into them one by one. Okay, indicators of product market fit: high demand, low churn, organic growth. Now, these could be a little misleading because when you look at high demand, what are you really gauging that metric on, right? So I see pitch decks every single day, and all of them talk about high demand. And, some of them may be right, some of them are usually wrong. And that's why you have a few successful startups that go on to make a lot of profit, but you have a lot of startups that don't even make it past the MVP. They just die. So knowing that you have high demand is critical, but you need to be very careful how you gauge that, how you come to the conclusion that there is high demand, right? Because sometimes high demand can be misleading. Then of course there's low churn. Now low churn, yeah, if you're not been in the market for a long time, then it is hard to quantize that low churn. But even during the MVP phase, you can, look at churn, and you got to be really, and I've done, many episodes in the past about how to keep your eye on the metrics and how, as a founder, it is your duty, your dharma, to spend a couple of hours every week, at least on a Friday or whatever, on a Saturday, and look at metrics, look at analytics, look at the different kind of KPIs so that you know exactly the pulse of your startup. The impact of product market fit on startup growth and investment opportunities. So, as I said earlier, if you don't have a good product market fit, at best, you're gonna just languish along. At worst, you're gonna crash and burn, and it's not just your time and effort, it's your bootstrapping. So if you've put some money in, that one, or your partners, your co-founders, and then more importantly, if you've been funded, your investment, your investors and stakeholders, you're going to burn through that. It's wasted money, wasted opportunity, wasted time, emotions, and it's going to have an emotional impact on you or your mental health as a founder, right? And I covered that in one of the episodes. And Yeah, so you got to be really, really careful about this product market fit. Okay, identifying a target market, because your product market fit all starts from your target market, your target audience, your ICP, right? So pinpoint your ideal customer segments for maximum product market fit. Now, what does that mean? What is the ideal customer segment? Okay, so you got to go through the exercise of creating your ideal customer profiles, right? So ICPs, you could call them customer personas, buyer personas, customer avatars, whatever you want to call them. They should be based on a strategic and scientific process. It all starts with identifying your customer avatars, understanding the psychographics, and I've done an episode on that. So I might do more in the future. It's not something that I want to go into in this video, but know that if you know what I'm talking about, fantastic. If you're struggling to understand the relevance of an ICP or an avatar or an archetype, there is a lot of work you need to do, and soon. Because if you're not on top of this, you're going to struggle. You're going to suffer. Use data-driven research to understand customer needs, preferences, and pain points. So that is where the archetypes come in, the psychographics come in. It's not just about demographics. It's about, so you may think, okay, my customers, this segment needs this. This is the problem. This is their pain point. So I'm going to solve that. And no, validation is much deeper than that. And I've done an episode on that. Yeah, I keep saying that because these are all interconnected. Each episode I do every day, it's a brief one, it's a short one, but it is interconnected, right? So follow along this journey as I explore each and every kind of pillar and their details, and then each and every brick within that pillar, right? Align your product with the most pressing needs of your target market. So pressing needs, okay, if you have a big problem you're solving, that's fantastic, but you got to look at it not just from a problem solution kind of viewpoint, but more about emotionally, in the worldview of your target audience, how big of a problem is that? And because that determines, are they going to pay for it? And the question of whether they will pay for it or not determines the product market fit. Because, yeah, you might have a great product market fit for a free service or a product, right? People will take free services or products, but would they pay for it? Maybe not in the beginning, because it depends on your business model. And if it's a freemium, would they eventually pay for it, right? Could you monetize it? Very critical. Optimize your value proposition. So craft a compelling value proposition that resonates with your target market. Now, value proposition is, it's not just a USP. On the surface it is, but it's much more than that. It's deeper than that, and it's about differentiating yourself. And I'll be doing an episode on that. But your value proposition has to resonate with the target market. Your value proposition is not just about yourself. It's not just about, oh, we're going to solve this in this way, therefore, this is a value proposition. No, it has to be valuable to your target audience, right? It's an exchange of value. And don't forget that. It's not about you or your startup, your brand. No, it is about your audience and how do they value what you're going to offer. Emphasize the unique benefits and differentiators of your product. So, okay, so what this really means is that rather than just features, and you know this, right? It's not just about features, it's about the benefits and the differentiators. Very critical. Regularly revisit and adjust your value proposition as your product and market evolves. So your kind of value proposition is a living thing again. It needs to be constantly monitored to say, okay, are we still aligning with the worldview of our target audience? Because trends change. And now, 2023, you know that the way people's consumer behavior, the psychographics change is in months. It's going to get to weeks. So you got to be really constantly evaluating this so that you got your finger on the pulse and you can then change your strategy, your tactics, and so on. And of course, then develop a minimum viable product, right? An MVP is an acid test for the product market fit. So create an MVP focused on addressing the most critical customer points. Now, pain points. Now, a lot of people think that an MVP is just a very simple version. Um, yes and no, right? Because look, if you don't have the right features in your MVP, then the acid test would be unjustified, right? You could have a lot of churn. You could have a lot of people not taking it up. Maybe they're signing up and then they abandon it. That does not necessarily mean that you don't have a product market fit. It just means that maybe your MVP did not have the right features that people found worth hanging around. So don't fall for this trap that I'm gonna have the okay, so your product should have a list of 10 features. Then you say, oh no, you know what, I'm gonna launch an MVP with the first 3 features, and then that's gonna be the acid test. No, because look, prioritizing those features is important. Maybe you do need to have 5 features to really make sense for your consumer, for your customer, your potential customer, to get the value out of it, right? And without, let's say, feature number 5 or feature number 7, they don't find value because they're all connected, and then they say, oh, you know what, yeah, this is okay, it's not worth my time. So be careful. MVP does not mean just 3 simple features. It does not mean that. Test the MVP with your target audience to gather feedback and insights, and then iterate and refine your MVP based on the feedback to improve product market fit. And of course, agile, lean development after the MVP launches, and then quickly. But once the MVP is out there, for the MVP to actually develop, you need funding, because that's where a lot of development goes in. A lot of people think that if they get funding just to get the MVP, then later on, they could move along. Yes, it works for some startups I've seen, but for a lot, actually, a lot of money is required after the MVP is launched, and then they got some users, and they're using the system, and they're getting feedback. They're getting, that they're able to identify the bottlenecks, because at that time, that's when you might have to spend a lot more on development, because you then realize, you know what, we're having a little bit of an issue, sometimes a complete rewrite, because you chose the wrong technology in the first place. That's because you do sometimes have to go for the for tech that is easier to build, cheaper to build, because MVP. And then once it's MVP, then you realize, okay, this is working fantastic, but the tech is not able to justify, or face the kind of transactions and all that, right? Okay, what's happening with my camera? Ooh. Yeah, is that better? I don't know. It's sort of freezing, but okay. So next, leverage customer feedback. Faster open communication channels with customers for continuous feedback. Okay, a lot of the time, the product market fit, especially during the MVP and later stages, it doesn't really move along nicely because you have not set up a viable kind of communication channel with the people using your software or your product or your service, right? And you're not having a good feedback mechanism. You're not having a good feedback loop. So pay attention to that. Use customer feedback to identify areas of improvement and potential new features, of course. Turn loyal customers into brand ambassadors to further validate product market fit. So product market fit also has, it's got two sides to it, right? One is this development of the product and positioning and USP, all those. And then there is the second one, which is giving such a great experience and trying to turn your customers into loyal brand ambassadors. That is also a big part of this equation. Keep an eye on the competition. Continuously monitor competitors to stay ahead of market trends. So, how does this relate to product market fit? If your competitors are moving into a different trend, then eventually the consumers will move to that trend, which means your product market fit might be great now, but it might just break when your competitors might come up with something different and they're trying to sway the entire market towards that, right? So you got to keep an eye on your competitors and trends. Adapt and improve your product based on competitor strategies and industry advancements. So again, this is about pivoting. This is about, and of course, making sure that your product is built in such a way that's easy to adapt and pivot. Because if not, if you are going for cheap development and everything is hard coded, then yeah, you're gonna cry. Use competitive insights to maintain and strengthen your product market fit. Competitive insights is observing the competition, but also doing analysis. So have an analyst in-house, right? Maybe not dedicated, but make sure that one of your team members has analytical strengths. In fact, if you as the founder, if you have analytical strength, that is the ideal situation, or your co-founder. If not, then one of your team members, right? Measure and monitor key metrics. Are you smiling? I think you are smiling because I always talk about monitoring key metrics. So first of all, define and track product market fit KPIs such as churn rate and NPS, Net Promoter Score, and customer satisfaction. So what is Net Promoter Score? It is a metric. It is an indicator of how many or how much of your audience, of your customers, are actually promoting you, right? Without getting paid. So are they talking about you? Are they tweeting and saying, oh my God, this software just saved me 10 hours this week, or something like that? That is the Net Promoter Score. So it's the brand ambassadors. So that's the first stage or the second stage of people becoming your brand ambassadors, right? So that's very important. If no one is talking about your product or service, if they're not recommending it without you offering them a referral fee, then you got to pay attention. Customer satisfaction, they're both linked to that. Analyze market trends to determine the strength of your product. So again, this is about key metrics. I've done a ton of episodes on the kind of metrics you need to look at and blah blah blah. So yeah, continuously optimize your product and strategies to maintain and enhance product market fit. Optimize your product and strategies. So it's not just about your product. Sometimes your positioning, your positioning strategy needs to change so that the fit is better. Because look, all products have features, but sometimes it's how your customers perceive your features, right? It's inception. So you need to incept the seed of that idea of that there's a benefit for it and so on, right? It's a complicated topic. Maybe I'll do another episode. So here I'm just rushing through because we're already getting to the 20-minute mark. So there it is. This is product market fit. A brief summary, kind of. I'm just touching upon the surface. This is a very deep topic. In fact, I can probably talk 10 hours straight on the various elements and the framework that you need to to have the perfect product market fit, the different steps, and at each stage, what you need to do, what kind of strategies do you to implement. But of course, I cannot do it in one or two videos. I will try and do them as a series, as we go forward. Okay, so if you have any questions about this topic, if you're already in that phase where you're trying to determine your product market fit, hit me up. If you have any questions, I'll try to give you my 2 cents. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm on Twitter, right? If not, till my next episode, go forth and prosper.